Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this textured crochet cardigan. You can easily make this cardigan with pockets or without, and today I'll be making a size small. You can find the free written pattern from sizes extra small to 3 extra large for free on my blog. The link is down below in the description bar. You will need chunky or bulky weight yarn, a 7mm crochet hook, a 6mm crochet hook, a darning needle, and some scissors. Today I'll be using Knit Picks or WeCrochet's Billow yarn in the colour white. It's 100% pima cotton, so it's very light and soft and perfect for summer. If you'd like to make a cardigan for colder weather, substitute this yarn for a chunky acrylic or wool blend yarn. Beginning with the 7mm crochet hook, create a slip knot. Insert your crochet hook into the loop. Chain 80. The body of the cardigan is worked lengthways, so the foundation chain runs the length of the cardigan. The front and back panels are worked in one piece, so we're going to begin with the first front panel. To start row 1, we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. To single crochet, insert your hook into the chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2. We're then going to chain 1, skip 1 chain, and then single crochet into the next chain. We're going to repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 chain, single crochet into the next chain until the end of the row. Each chain 1 counts as 1 stitch. At the end of the row, you should have 79 stitches. Turn your work. To start row 2, chain 1, and the turning chain of chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. Single crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, skip the chain, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you should have 79 stitches. Turn your work. We're going to repeat row 2 until the end of row 20. At the end of row 20, this is what your first front panel will look like. To start row 1 of the back panel, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until you have 26 stitches left in the row. So once you've crocheted along and you have 26 stitches left in the row, chain 27. Don't worry if the chain extends past the edge of your panel. It'll shrink once we crochet the next row. Turn your work. To start row 2 of the back panel, single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, and then single crochet into the next chain. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. We've now crocheted along the chain and you can see that it's now the same height as the edge of the front panel. Continue to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next stitch until the end of the row. You should have 79 stitches in total. Turn your work. The gap we created will be used to sew the sleeves onto the body. To start row 3 of the back panel, chain 1. Single crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. Turn your work. Repeat back panel row 3 until the end of back panel row 60. Once you've finished back panel row 60, altogether you should have 80 rows. We're now going to repeat back panel row 1. So to begin, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until you have 26 stitches left in the row. When you have 26 stitches left in the row, chain 27. Turn your work. We're now going to crochet the first row of the second front panel. Single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you'll have 79 stitches. Turn your work. To start row 2 of the second front panel, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. Turn your work. Repeat row 2 of the second front panel until the end of row 20. In total, you should have 101 rows. Fasten off. We're now going to crochet the sleeves, so to begin, create a slip knot and insert the 6mm crochet hook into the loop. We're crocheting the sleeves from the cuff up, so we'll start by crocheting the ribbing. To begin, chain 7. To start row 1, we're going to half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. To half double crochet, yarn over. Insert your hook into the chain. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Half double crochet in each stitch until the end of the row. You should have 6 stitches. Turn your work. For row 2, we're going to back loop half double crochet. So instead of picking up 2 strands of yarn, you're only going to pick up the loop furthest away from you. So chain 1, yarn over, pick up the loop furthest away from you, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. So back loop half double crochet until the last stitch of the row. And then place a normal half double crochet in the last stitch of the row, making sure that you pick up both the front and back loop of yarn. At the end of row 2, you should have 6 stitches. Turn your work. And we're now going to repeat row 2 until the end of row 16. Once you have 16 rows of ribbing, remove the 6mm hook and replace it with a 7mm hook. We're now going to work our stitches along the long edge of the ribbing. To begin row 1 of the sleeves, chain 1. Single crochet into the first row. Chain 1, and then single crochet into the next row. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, single crochet into the next row until the last row. At the end of row 1, you should have 31 stitches. Turn your work. To begin row 2, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. You should have 31 stitches in total. Turn your work. Repeat row 2 until the end of row 10. This is what the sleeve should look like at the end of row 10. To start row 11, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, and then single crochet into the chain space. Chain 1, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1 and skip 1 stitch. Repeat the pattern of single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch until the last chain space of the row. Single crochet into the last chain space of the row. Chain 1 and then single crochet into the last stitch of the row. In total, you should have 35 stitches. Turn your work. Repeat rows 2 to 11 until your sleeve measures 40 centimeters or 16 inches long. I crocheted until the end of row 42. The sleeves are designed to be a bit longer, so you can roll up the cuffs. At the end of row 42, fasten off. Fold your sleeve in half lengthways, and then whip stitch the edges together. And you've finished your first sleeve. Repeat all the sleeve steps for your second sleeve. We're now going to assemble the cardigan. Fold the front panels inwards on top of the back panel. Using safety pins or stitch markers to hold the front panels in place, whip stitch together the top of the shoulder seams. Once you've sewed the shoulder seams together, whip stitch the sleeves to the armholes. Don't worry if your sleeve is a little bit smaller than the armhole. Line up the top of the sleeve with the shoulder seam. Use safety pins or stitch markers to hold the sleeve in place. Once you've sewed the sleeves to the body, if there's still a gap underneath the armhole, sew the gap closed. Once we've sewed the sleeves to the body, we're going to crochet the neckline and hemline ribbing separately. To begin with the hemline ribbing, create a slip knot. Insert the 6mm crochet hook into the loop. Chain 6. Half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. Half double crochet in each chain until the end of the row. You should have 5 stitches in total. Turn your work. To start row 2, chain 1. Back loop half double crochet into the first 4 stitches. Half double crochet into the last stitch of the row. Turn your work. Repeat row 2 until your ribbing measures the length of your hemline. I crocheted until the end of row 67. Use safety pins or stitch markers to pin the ribbing to the edge of the hemline. Whip stitch the cardigan and the ribbing together. Once you've finished the hemline ribbing, follow the ribbing instructions until the length of the ribbing measures the length of the neckline. I crocheted until row 114. Pin the neckline ribbing in place, and then whip stitch the ribbing to the body of the cardigan. Once you've finished sewing on the ribbing, if you don't want to add pockets, weave in all of your ends. To crochet the pockets, create a slip knot. Insert the 7mm crochet hook into the loop. Chain 14. The foundation chain runs the length of the pocket, not the width. To start row 1, single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. You should have 13 stitches in total. Turn your work. To start row 2, chain 1, single crochet into the first stitch. Repeat the pattern of chain 1, skip 1 stitch, single crochet into the next stitch until the end of the row. Turn your work. Repeat row 2 until the end of row 15. Fasten off. Remember that we're working the pocket lengthways, so the foundation chain runs the length of the pocket. To crochet the ribbing for the pocket, create a slip knot. Insert the 6mm crochet hook into the loop. Chain 6. To start row 1, half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. Half double crochet in each chain until the end of the row. You should have 5 stitches in total. Turn your work. To start row 2, chain 1. Back loop half double crochet in each stitch until the last stitch of the row. Half double crochet in the last stitch of the row. Turn your work. Repeat row 2 until the ribbing measures the length of the pocket. I crocheted until the end of row 11. Fasten off. Whip stitch the edge of the ribbing to the edge of the pocket. Repeat these steps for your second pocket. Pin the pockets onto the front panels of the cardigan. I suggest trying on your cardigan to make sure you like the pocket placement. Whip stitch the edges of the pocket to the cardigan. Once you've finished sewing your pockets to the cardigan, weave in all of your ends. And you've finished your In The Clouds cardigan.